Great. All right, this is Get the News Straight. I'm your host, Glenn Sutphin. My co-host tonight's Chris Dorsey. We're doing a year in review today on what has been going on and what we've been doing and what's been happening in the world pretty much. I guess we'll start off with last year we did the End the Fed rally on the 23rd, right before Christmas, in the rain. We had a fairly good turnout for it.
Yeah, it was a good turnout. We worked pretty hard to get the turnout that we got. It was raining and it was 2 days before Christmas, but the most significant thing I think was it's the 100th anniversary of the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. So that was passed at the end of the year 1913 during Christmas recess. We all know the story of the creature from Jekyll Island, and that's when the private bankers reestablished their dominion over our land. And we stood out there with guns and told them that's illegal and we're not going to put up with it anymore, and we're giving warnings to the perpetrators of treason. And one interesting thing that came out of it, besides us making declarations and marching armed on the property of the Federal Reserve Bank with them standing down
watching us through the windows and police watching us, it was
also the police not really showing their faces too much, only to alert the Channel 6 news camera, the CBS, the media, the corporate media, that they had to leave. They were filming. They mic'd up Wes Rossin, and then they got footage, and then the police told them to leave.
You parked illegally or something, and you got to leave, and
right. I mean, that's what they said, but it was a long conversation for just illegally parked.
Yeah.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. We did what our right is to do, and that kind of sets the stage for everything, in my opinion, because the Federal Reserve Bank controls everything, and everything that we opposed, everything that we exposed during the year, it stems from the criminal, unlawful, private central bank that bonds every single one of you in debt and creates money based on your servitude to the wealthiest so-called elite that control our government unlawfully in every sort of way. So, I mean, Glenn and I, we have lots to cover from what we did this year, but we figured we'll go back maybe like a week and a year to the 100th anniversary.
To start the 100th year of our enslavement, basically.
Right.
And all the usury and everything we talk about, it was pretty much wrapped up in the Fed. And that's where everything stems from. Is we get rid of the Fed, good majority of our problems are gone.
Right.
And
or at least just to get into that, it's like we could even take over the Fed. The body of the people can get in control of the printing press and not allow the devaluation of our currency.
Take it out of the private hands that are owning it and putting it into the people's hands. Instead of ending it, we end their occupation of it, I guess, is what you guys...
Private ownership.
The private ownership, how they enslave us with it, do away with that system and install a new system.
Right.
That works.
Right.
And not works for a few individuals, works for the majority of the people.
That's right.
And that's pretty much where we're headed, where we want, get rid of all this. And
the money is with the controller of everything. The government, it borrows money from the Federal Reserve Bank at interest. So it's not like the Fed is just, this is the mechanism to create the money that the government issues, as is stated in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. The Federal Reserve Bank is a private bank that creates the money out of bonding out the body of the individual masses of the Americans, and it lends the government the money, the Treasury Department at interest. And so that's it. That's what controls everything. That's what controls the Pentagon. That's what controls the media. That's what controls Hollywood. That's what controls the state government, the city government, every corporation, that banking institution, and that money creation through the illusionary bond that they have over everyone that is hearing my voice. That is what must stop. That's called usury. That's a violation of Article 1 of the Constitution. It's a violation of human rights. It's a violation of logic and rationality. So it all stems back from this banking cartel that's the biggest gangsters in the world, the bankster gangsters, and that's a violation of the law. And there's a small group of us that are on the front lines of this battle. We're not distracted by Republican and Democrat or any of these BS issues created by the illusionary media. We are standing right in front of the Fed, and that's what we know. And then we're knocking down each of their institutions, as we go along the way, and we'll hit all these institutions.
Yeah, we'll go up the list. The next one on the list was one of the first rallies we did was the chemtrail rally.
Okay, yeah.
Key. Yeah, that's a very key. They're poisoning us through the air. They're poisoning through the air. It goes onto the ground. It poisons the ground. It saturates the soil. It does all. It gets into the water. They're basically killing us slowly, and we're paying for it through the Fed, through all these other miscellaneous things that they do, and they tell us it's good for us, and I won't get into all the contrail and chemtrail, all that right now, because this is just a review.
I mean, we
might do an article.
Maybe like 15 seconds on the contrail, chemtrail. You and I were sitting in a car. You had said a day before, I wish we could get two planes right next to each other, so the next day, ask and you shall receive. We got it, clicked it, and we've got a video that clearly shows it, and countless thousands of other videos on the internet.
All you gotta do is look up.
Yeah, contrail versus chemtrail. I mean, we've seen it for our faces. So, we're not going to insult your intelligence by thinking you're any less, observant than we are. You see it right in front of your face. It's not a contrail. So when we realize it's aluminum, barium, strontium, sometimes medical waste, sometimes
or even as some
radioactive waste.
Even as some people say it's just gas coming out of the engine. Fine. If it's just gas, it's got to go somewhere. It's all up there. Right. It's going to come down on you. I don't want gas raining down on me. Right. And saying this is all because, we have more air traffic, and this is why. I've seen these planes doing loop-de-loos and everything else. Right. Passenger airplanes do not do what these planes do.
Right.
I don't care what you people say.
Straight up in the air?
Straight up, straight down, doing loops, doing circles. That's not a flight pattern. That is not, and some of these passenger planes.
Is a pattern.
Well, it's a pattern, but it's not the standard flight pattern that every airplane flies. No, it doesn't. We'll just stop that right now because that's bullshit.
All right. Well, what's this? I mean, I know we know this too, but it's not gas. But I comprehend the concept that these chemtrail planes are double polluting in that they're flying around in circles in weird direction, pouring gas on and also
even that. If that's what they were doing, that's still fucking bizarre. Why would they be pouring gas on us? And
that's not what they're doing.
I understand that's not what they're doing. I'm just talking to the idiots that we should gas,
right?
Gas. Well then, fine. If it's just gas, do you want gas coming down on you constantly? I mean, come on. And you sit there and tell me, you know what? Fine, if you want to be rained on by gas, so be it. I don't. That's all I'm saying about it.
I'm with you, and I guess you're having conversations with a different kind of folk. But as I always, whenever somebody starts messing with me and telling me something, either to my face or over the internet, that's some sort of bullshit, I immediately say hey, I debate folks, on TV. So let's let's get together and debate, smart guy. I mean, I debate, editors of newspapers, and I debate with members of parliament in foreign countries. So let's get together and debate. If you're so informed on this subject, I'm pretty confident. So let's get together and let's start having some sort of discussion. So yeah. I think Glenn and I both feel this way. Like, if anyone would like to challenge any of our information that basically says your government is criminal and it must be abolished, and they do every imaginable disgusting crime to you. If anyone would like to debate whether these things are actually happening and would like to do so publicly, let's do it, because we got the proof. I mean, it's right there for everyone to see. If someone doesn't see this, they are uninformed, and their opinion is that of an incompetent fool. It's tantamount to their being an adult child, or with some sort of, developmental disability. If you think that what we're saying, if you think that they are not spraying aluminum, barium, and strontium into the atmosphere, if you think that they are not spraying soft metals out into the sky, then you're absolutely wrong. And there's millions of documents where government pays institutions to carry these things out. So that's happening. If you're saying it's not happening, you're an idiot. So turn this off if you're saying it's not happening, or if you don't, listen to us and call us and challenge us and say, oh, it's not happening. You got to prove this stuff. We've proved it. So they're poisoning us. And we met with Amanda Williams. In Carytown in Richmond, and she brought a lot of folks.
Mm-hmm.
There were 12. I mean, with us, it was me, you,
about 15 with us.
Yeah.
So she had about 12 people with her.
Yeah. And then we had Chris Lane came by for a few. Greg Paris was there. You and I were there.
There were a lot of people.
There were a lot of folks there. And we were going around and talking to folks about chemtrails.
Chemtrails, and telling them to look up. And while we were doing it, they were chemming the sky for us. So they did their part for us.
And a lot of folks knew about it.
Yeah,
a lot
of people were aware of it.
A lot of people were aware. We had a good little session there. Amanda and Robbie Norton made a video afterwards statement saying, look, this violation of the law, you're poisoning us, this is not, we can't stand for this.
Yeah,
it was good. It was a good little event, and gotta do it.
Have to do it. And okay, well, that leads us to the next event of the year that I've got on the list is Mr. Dorsey here being thrown out of City Hall. That was probably the event of the year. I think one of the main events of the year was you getting thrown out of City Hall. I'll let you take that one. Tell everybody, fill them in. I mean, a lot of people have been watching us. They know what happened. It was totally illegal what they did.
Oh, and, it was, yeah.
They're trying to force their hand, going, well, and I've seen this a lot, we don't like what you said, so we're going to shut you up, is pretty much what it comes down to. They don't like what we're saying, so we're just going to shut you up. Well, the First Amendment says that's wrong.
Yeah.
We won't even get into that I'm press. And,
oh, yeah. Well, that's what I told him I was with. Press TV America.
Yeah, we're with the press.
I said the word press in it.
But we didn't say media, so I guess if we're not with media, we're with press. Where media is better than press, when media doesn't do anything but corrupt, lie, cheat, tell nothing but fairy tales.
Right.
They're dodo birds. They need to go the way of the dodo bird and get out, because media... media is like horoscopes. I mean, that's about what I'm putting it as now. It's like, oh, everybody reads it, but shit, it doesn't mean shit.
Well, I might disagree with you on that one, but I would say a horoscope is much more helpful than the media.
Well, true, okay. But you the idea there, it's almost useless, the media. All it does, weather, They're good for the weather. They're good for sports. Other than that, and maybe movies coming out, movie reviews, and if Miley Cyrus showed her boob or not. I mean, that seems to be the onus of what I get out of everything. Miley Cyrus showed her boobs again. Yay, good for her. I don't care. It doesn't do anything for society. It doesn't help regenerate us as a human species.
You said what it's good for, so that's where I always focus. It's like, what it's good for is it's good to get out false propaganda. It's good to brainwash the American, Oh,
it's very good at what it does.
Public, So it does serve a purpose. It serves a purpose of misinforming. It serves a purpose of telling the people that they didn't see what they just saw right in front of their own face. It's good for the best thing. It's useful, and the most useful purpose it serves, I should say, is obfuscation, because the truth is hidden in plain sight, and then all that's left to do is to obfuscate. So when this event happened was a night I was scheduled to address the meeting of City Council. I was addressed to speak to the public who's watching live in the City Hall chambers. It was a pretty crowded night that night. There were a few news cameras, as folks might be well aware through watching all the videos and seeing video from the news, which was interesting to see which videos they used. And what happened was, for those who aren't familiar, the normal place where I sit was blocked off. And just blocked. Didn't say any reason. I mean, we caught that on videotape. So I videotaped the meetings. I'm not going to sit back far away, so I can't, operate in this open meeting and videotape it, which is, my God-given right. And so I went up into the press area. And,
which is his right, by the way, as a member of press.
I mean, I don't believe in the money transactions or anything legitimate like that. Like, I certainly never turned down, money, because I, obviously need it to live, but I'm not employed. But I have gotten paid by, something called Press TV America. So, it's all in the name. What are you? I'm press. Hey, you don't believe it? I got, they want me to fill out, this, foreign government organization that paid me wants me to fill out IRS forms. I mean, I said, no way, you got to be kidding. You, the foreign government entity, want me to fill out IRS forms? Iranian government? But anyways, it's called Press TV America, and it operates out of America. And it doesn't matter whether there's something called that or not. It just so happens that I used to get paid by that organization. Not anymore, not very much, but anyways, I'm the press. And I don't need to say I'm the press for me to be able to do whatever I want to at this meeting, because this meeting is a meeting of my servants. That's the thing.
And it's open to public.
The people.
The people.
And I'm one of the people. I'm one of the few people. But I'm definitely, and there's no argument, though no one can claim that I am not one of the people, because I am. I have demonstrated it in any number of ways. So I take my perch at in the catbird seat, behind everyone, which is the only seat that's still available that's acceptable for me to be able to operate as a free man, exercising my constitutionally enumerated rights, but my God-granted rights, to be most exact, because the Constitution, that doesn't apply to me. Those are the rules of my servants. I'm a party to the Constitution. I'm one of the people who created the Constitution, but I don't have to abide by the Constitution. But some of my rights, some of our God-given rights are enumerated there. So my God-given rights gave me the right to do whatever I want to at that meeting, because it's a meeting of my servants. And it's never in proper parliamentary order. man, I can't even imagine what it's going to be like in 2015 because
the
new president doesn't even know what parliamentary order means.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's when I started noticing all of these teams of individuals start moving about and talking to one another and individuals not seen. So we will go through the list: constitutional, and I'm using these quotes. Attorney Jonathan Arthur of the law firm of Thomas Roberts, standing right next to the officer who was one of the abductors and was one of the main assaulters, Steve Skinner, who later initiated the false report against me, standing next to the Asian cop who initiated the assault and initiated the quasi-arrest. And then when I say quasi-arrest, that's because they were telling me first I was going straight to jail. Then they were telling me that I was under arrest. Then they were telling me I wasn't under arrest. Then I was under arrest. Then I wasn't under arrest. Okay, so these individuals are standing next to one another. Then we see Stith, the head of City Hall Security, and Lou Brown Ali, the council chief of staff, communicating, and a new cop that I just discovered going through records. This happened in April, the couple days before tax day, because then we had the tax day.
And then we had the rally.
Yeah, we'll get into that because we got some good footage from that, and that kind of ties together. And again, Channel 6 at that rally. And Henry Meese, who was a string puller of Riva Trammell, a council member, and also a 40-year Richmond police veteran, and they're all attempting to hide themselves. And they're all hiding in corners and talking, and I just see all these, folks positioned together. Then Steve Skinner comes up and says that this area is for the for the media, for the press. You can see exactly what he says. It's on YouTube, and
the video's up.
And this was also eyewitnessed by news cameras, news reporters, who then filed false reports about it. And specifically, there's Mark Holmberg. He was not an eyewitness. Burnett was an eyewitness. She filed a false report, hours later, a contradictory report, and everything that she said was can be, except for she did say some accurate things, but every inaccurate thing, which was most of the things she said, was contradicted by all the video evidence and all that she saw right in front of her face and received the video. Same goes with Ned Oliver from Style Weekly. We have him all over the video. He's standing 5 feet away from the whole thing. And Graham Mumaw. And then there's also Brandon Shalita, who interviewed me about the article, about the incident. Although he wasn't an eyewitness, Graham Mumaw was, and they posted the video of the event, and their stories contradicted the video. Same with Style Weekly, same with all the local news channels, the local CBS, ABC, and NBC affiliates, and that there were so many corporate media eyewitnesses inches away from this. I was assaulted by the police after I told them I had information contradicting this false report made by city agent, city council employee Steve Skinner. They still arrested me. Then they abducted me and took me against my will. They ripped my sidearm off of me while I was being pulled in multiple different directions by individuals. This was eyewitnessed and caught on camera, surveillance cameras, that had the whole incident. They stole my property. They made up a false story. Then they assaulted me. Then they dragged me out. Then they abducted me. And then they were assaulting me. There was a man with his arm on me, assaulting me. I kept telling this man, you're assaulting me. Get your hands off of me. And then they signed something saying I was trespassing at City Hall. And I told them I was not going to sign it, and I demand that they not only let me go, which was demanding from the beginning, but I also demand my property back that they stole. My most valuable possessions, my most valuable commodities, the only things that I own, that camera I bought with money, this sidearm I bought with money, I don't really have that much else. That's it. My property, stolen by, under the law, my servants. And this is all witnessed by any number of different reporters, lawyers, caught on camera. And I say, I'm not going to sign something saying I was trespassing. So I wasn't. So then they said that they weren't going to give me my property back or even take me out of my handcuffs until I agreed that I was going to sign something saying that I was doing something that I certainly wasn't doing and that I refused to sign initially. So, of course, I put the letters NA, which stands for non-assumpsit, which means I am not in that document. I don't have anything to do with it. I don't agree with it. Because, the piece of paper doesn't matter. What matters the most is what actually happened. Where I say all law is oral. I'm a man. I'm in my court. I'm in my jurisdiction. I have more ownership over that piece of property than anyone else because they don't comprehend their rights and their duties as man and as people. The servants, they're wild. The servants have taken over. And the servants, who do they represent? They represent the private international bankers that take all the value of the people, and in this case, their First and Second Amendment rights and their God-given right to infinite free speech and their God-given right to, protect their lives, and they just ripped it away and acted as if it didn't happen, and then wanted to dishonor themselves further by making up some sort of lie saying you got to sign something saying we violated your rights, but that you were at fault.
Yeah.
So
they always do.
So, and then it's obfuscated in the media. Then they take it and run with it and act as if, this guy says one thing and this guy says another. It's all on video. Man, I'm not... What is going on there? What is going on with this? That's not the way this thing is going to go down. They're not going to take something that happened, was videotaped, involving all these different liars setting up all this bullshit. Oh, Parker Agalesto saying that this was pre-planned beforehand and then denying that he said that.
Yeah, we got them all on. You got them all on tape. We get them on tape saying we get them. We interview them. They say one thing in the interview, turn around and say something else on the TV, and then we didn't say that. Here it is on video. You said it. You can't trust. This is what I'm saying about the media. You can't trust the media. They tell you you have. Oh,
I'm talking about Parker Agalesto, the member of council.
Well,
who said that this is pre-planned.
You can't trust them at all.
Oh well, they're definitely right. They're definitely all tied in. So
it's all big conglomeration of crap. And right. I'm just...
Oh, even the opposition. I'd like to, the controlled opposition, these groups, Silver Persinger helps out. But, we got promises from a lawyer in that group, Wayne Taylor. Hey, starting to document things, saying we're going to go forward with this. And then, I said, well, I could take some assistance. And he's like, well, it looks like you got a pretty open and shut case. And I'm like, well, okay, well then help me out with it. Oh, well, I can't match up against the city's lawyers. And then just backing away and really
backpedaling.
Backpedaling. It's it's like what? Where's the help?
Well, you got a
There's
good case,
or
but I don't want to do it, and nobody else wants to do it, so therefore it's not a good case.
Right, and the witnesses who, Jonathan Michael Arthur, this is what I'm going to get on record about this, you know, I had a meeting, and he first canceled a meeting with me, and, like, they're real standoffish, and they're real sketchy at the fucking Thomas Roberts law firm. You know, they're really questionable individuals there. And so I hope you hear it, because if you are in that fucking law firm, fucking, yeah, try to say something about you being a fraudulent piece of shit, Thomas Roberts, because I got the fucking proof of it, asshole. Fucking lawyer, you fucking bitch. You know, basically, we have a meeting. This guy eyewitnessed this stuff. He was standing next to the cop. I got him standing next to the cop before any of this shit even went down. And, you know, he's the one that took the picture that ended up in Style Weekly, where they're like, proof that they're dragging me out. So we have a meeting, and he's like, nah, here's what we do. Let's crucify Steve Skinner. Let's go after him. Let's do this. Let's do that. And so then he backpedals, and he says, well, we can't do anything to Steve Skinner, because then we just say, you know, this is that, and he'll say one thing, and you'll say another, and he'll say, that's what I thought. And I was like, well, there's video to contradict that. And he says it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
so why is he saying to crucify Steve Skinner? And then he tells me he didn't even watch the video. I'm like, man, these guys can't even fucking keep their goddamn lie straight. They can't even keep their shit fucking, their bullshit straight. It doesn't matter. Whatever. So I got these guys bullshitting me, and those are the folks that are you know, meant to help, because they're tied in with Cop Block. They're tied in with Nathan Cox. Those guys saw this shit. I mean, there wasn't more of an open shut case of that, you know, police, you know, violations of somebody's rights around here, you know, more than that. But guess what? The news this year in 2014, they focused a lot on that issue. But when they focused on the incident with me, they played it an entirely different way, because it didn't fit in with their scenario. And who jumped in when the cops were out of hand in Richmond? Nobody. We did. We took care of ourselves. We took lawful actions against these folks, and nothing happened. But where's the media focus? Like, oh, police violating other folks' rights? These vague things that may or may not have happened, and who knows what led up to them down in Petersburg, and that's where Cop Block is. And then they push forward this agenda of you know, white cop, black victim. But it was real funny. It was real funny who they had lined up to assault me. Two Asian guys, an Indian dude, and Chinese looking guy. You know, I don't know. Like, seriously, I don't know anything. I don't know what this guy's name is. You know, I never really got the video got a good look at him. I don't know who the fuck this guy is. I don't know who the fucking other, you know, faggot that was, sexually assaulting me and, like, you know, staring at my package, like, you know. I mean, you saw that photo. I mean, a lot of people. I presented that in front. I mean, I don't want these faggots with their hands all over me and violating my rights when I'm gonna get up and speak and say, basically, your government's a sham. The government's controlled by a private bank, who later on in the year we exposed Jeff Lacker at City Council, calling him as a criminal, then opening up a court of record and laying out his crimes. You know, that was caught, you know, right to his face. So I addressed, you know, I made the claim as a man. I addressed the individual who's violating, you know, my rights, and then said what's going on. No one can deny the fact that the Federal Reserve Bank is a private institution that spreads warfare, destroys the planet, and enslaves its people through debt. So we've established that. That's what I'm going to establish every time I go before the city council. Every time I go before the city council, and whatever little bullshit backroom deals these little fucking pissant Richmond bitches have in mind, I can tie that directly to the larger Federal Reserve scam and show how each one of them is violating the law. So they didn't want that to happen. So they had to create some sort of scenario where they were going to remove me, and they were going to lie and make me sound crazy, by saying that I'm, quoting me as saying I refer to myself as a man formerly known as Chris Dorsey. So what they quote me, like that's a quote coming from me. It's like, hey, this is a quote coming from Chris Dorsey. So then when the individual who wrongly wrote that quote said, oh, well, that's what they told me. So see, that's how they do these little subtle things. And I said, well, you know what's real funny about all that is that there's videotape of the conversation that took place where this misquote is coming from, and I go into great context, and they know who I am already if they want to call me Chris Dorsey, and I go into great context as to why I like to be referred to, and I'm only referred to as a man called Chris Dorsey and one of the people. So I'm very clear about that. I will never backpedal from that. If someone says that I'm crazy for backpedaling from saying I'm one of the people, then
they obviously are.
Then I will destroy you. I will destroy you if because I know what you're doing there. Either you're an idiot and you're already destroying yourself as an idiot, or you know what you're doing and I'm coming for you. I'm one of the people, and no one can take my rights away. Not one individual can take my God-given rights away. So, and also we were going to expose the IRS, which comes into the next thing we were doing. Later. Yeah, I mean, maybe we can cover
Well, the next one up is the Lynchburg train derailment.
Okay.
That would be the next one in the list, which. I mean, when it first started, we were already catching them in a bunch of lies. We're going, that's a lie. You just said this, and then you turned around and said that. And none of the train cars went in the water, but 3 of them went in the water, but none of them lost anything, but all of them lost it. And it was one after the other after the other. This didn't happen, but this did happen. It didn't happen this way, it happened this way, but what we said it happened, it didn't. And you get all confused on what's going on.
But what the bottom line was, basically, like what you said was the big image that came out of this one was the fucking James River on fire, like from bank to bank. The shit is on fire in Lynchburg, downtown Lynchburg, and again, to reiterate and restate what Glenn was saying, because it's better to say things twice rather than once when something's important. Initially, they said no damage.
There was no damage.
No damage.
It just derailed and everything was okay. And then while they're showing a picture of 3 cars in the water on fire,
upside down
with looks like a sheen all over the water. Right. And the pictures, and then they go, and it did not affect the wildlife at all. It didn't affect the fish in the water. It didn't affect the drinking water. It did all this stuff that it didn't do. And then, wait a minute, we got to shut everything down because the non-existent oil slick that's 1 mile, 6 miles, 8 miles, 18 miles, whatever it was, because they kept changing it.
Okay.
Their story just kept progressing, and as it progressed, it got further and further away from what happened.
Let's key folks into some some issues and details. Like when we're talking like this, it's like presume that we have talked to the absolute authorities on this, and then we have videotape documentation. So it's not just that we're just saying first we say this, and then when we're talking about Department of Public Utilities in the city of Richmond. We're talking about state of Virginia and CSX officials. We're contacting these individuals, and this is what we're hearing the runaround directly. and they're making statements in publications that and to us that are contradictory in nature. And there was, I don't even remember how many tens of thousands of gallons of this foul, dirtiest type of oil. It
depends on if you're going by what they said or if you're going by what the cars actually held, or and then we're not sure. Was it?
Oh, and they kept changing it.
Yeah, it was.
They kept
it 3 tankers? Was it 3 tankers that went in that leaked? Was it 5? Because there's so many different. Some of the ones that were on the ground were leaking, which got into the water. And each of these cars holds like 55,000 gallons.
Chesterfield County, they shut off the water from the river. So we're being told that their water is coming from the same sources as the city of Richmond water. So the city of Richmond is being focused on, and their DPU head, Bob Steidel, he's the focus being quoted and saying like, oh, no visible oil sheens and our water's fine. So, but Chesterfield County cuts their water off and it's coming from the same source. So it's fine for the city of Richmond residents, it's not fine for Chesterfield residents. We contacted them and we're saying like, okay, what's going on here? What is it? What is it about, the residents of Chesterfield where it's not okay for them, but the same water is okay for the city of Richmond?
Yeah.
And that we have multiple government officials saying that they had spotted, the oil slick, in different places flowing down the James River that would get into our water supply. And again, the contradiction of, this guy, this is the funny thing. And, I always like, maybe it's Glenn's formal attire that throws me off and makes me, act so seriously. But there's some really funny stuff that comes in when we talk to some of these folks. Because I'm talking to the head of the, Environmental Protection Agency for the Commonwealth of Virginia. The head guy. He's the one that's being quoted in the paper. I'm contacting these folks and I'm like, this is a FOIA. I require this information from y'all. Like, you got to tell me what's going on. And so this guy starts going like, well, what we're seeing is that there's no environmental damage. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, man, I'm recording this phone call, And he's like, yes. And I say, like, look, man, and, like, if you want to go back to get the exact things of what I said, it's online. Please look it up. It's Richmond Peace at YouTube. Please subscribe. Look it up. Subscribe. You'll be shocked at what you see. You'll definitely be shocked. You have to, know what you're looking at, but you'll definitely be shocked if you're, if you're smart enough.
If you're awake.
If you're aware and awake, and both aware and awake, you'll be shocked. So I say, really, no environmental damage. So James River, that's made of water, right? Yes. Well, I got a picture right here. I'm looking at that shows me James River's on fire. Is it usual or unusual for a body of water to catch on fire? Well, yeah, I guess that's unusual. Is the river, is that not part of the environment? Water, that's pretty much, that's what we are.
Environment is water, man.
Hey, like we can't breathe without the water in the air. Like it's all like, we're all, what are we more than anything else?
90% water, yeah.
We're water. Everything's water. Okay, so like, that's a part of the environment. Well, yeah, I guess you're right. Okay, so like now you are the fucking head guy of the environmental protection, whatever the fuck they call themselves in Virginia. Like again, I know what it is. I can look back Department of Environmental Quality or some bullshit like that. But again, man, I talked to the guy. It doesn't matter what his title is. It matters what his duty is alleged to be. So like, this guy is telling me there's no environmental damage. And then within, fucking 15 seconds after, like, all these obvious questions where it's like, hey, man, do you even know what the fucking word environment means? You're, like, to protect the environment? Do you know what the fuck that word means? Like, how you're being quoted in the paper saying there's no damage, and then within 30 seconds of talking to just one of the people, just a man, the guy in charge of all this fucking shit for the environment for the entire state of Virginia is like, well, I guess there was environmental damage. Like,
but it wasn't significant, and we didn't report it. I mean, it's pretty much what they came out and said.
Well, that's what they said after there was no. I mean, okay? Then good. Then let's interrogate. What do you construe as significant? What does the because then we can tie back to like the tritium leak in the water table and in the region, and saying like the tritium leak's 3 times the EPA standards.
Well, so no, because one big ass mistake, America just raised the level of radiation in the water, so it's safe again.
That's what George Bush did too. That's what
they almost got to do that. They go, well, it doesn't matter now. We said it was okay.
Oh, wait a second. Okay, yeah, because like. It's like, well, yeah, it is 3 times the EPA standards yet from yesterday, but not today.
We upped it, and now it's safe again.
Now investigation over.
Yeah, it's just because we said so, it is now safe to breathe fucking monoxious gas.
A scam is not legal. Again. Like, if we go back to all this shit, all these other minor scams, and they're not minor scams.
No, they're
major
pretty
scams,
major.
But it still falls under the major umbrella of the original Ponzi scheme, pyramid scheme, scam of the Federal Reserve banking system, where the so-called capstone at the very top is benefiting from being on top of all the base at all hierarchical levels along the way. It still comes back to the major scam of the Federal Reserve Bank, because again, who's doing the tritium leak? It's fucking Dominion Power. Who's doing the fucking oil spill? That's fucking CSX. So good luck, because who controls the government? Well, of course, it's the Federal Reserve Bank. And then who gets these 0% loans to, operate the infrastructure of certain regions? CSX, Dominion Power.
Mm-hmm.
Who never pays taxes? CSX, Dominion Power. Who always, fucking spends money and then raises rates later to cover what they've spent and to cover and make sure that they make record profits every year? CSX and fucking Dominion Power. Okay? Are you getting it? Are you fucking getting it? Good. Okay. So, we're steps ahead of you. We are steps ahead of you, unless you're one of the ones that are doing this or benefiting from this. And either you're conscious of that, or you're doing it without your own conscious realization. If not, and we're talking to you, we're ahead of you.
Most of you. Some of you are actually still.
I mean,
there's a few that are.
Who else is demanding that the takeover of the Federal Reserve Bank and then walking back and forth in front of?
Well, we had a few. We've had a few.
Right.
So you can't say there are some people that are. There are some very few people are there.
There are very few folks that are there.
There are
and
few,
also,
but there are very few.
You might be there with us on that one, but we got other plans, and you know what? We're only following. I'm following the initial orders. My initial orders came from Lieutenant Colonel Robert Bowman. That's where my initial orders for this operation came from, and he was national commander for the Patriots USA. I presume that's something, because he was masterful in his knowledge and his ascension to the highest ranks in the United States shadow government, and so that's where the initial orders came from. Dr. Lieutenant Colonel Robert Bowman, he passed away several years ago. And this is a sell off of that mission. This is an operation of the body of the people. This comes from the folks that were around here, during the first, English and it was Irish, German, too, Scottish colonizations of the United States of America. This is the faction this is the faction. This is where we get our authority. Our authority comes from, the authority that stems back from that point in the initial conveyance of the land of the United States of America, and then you can take it back farther from there, and then our claims to the royal houses of Europe, before the usurpations took place. So, that being said, this is where we're getting our authority. This is where we're getting our knowledge. This is where we're getting our stuff, and we're seeing all of backing down to us, and that's pretty much
where we're at.
Where we're at. We're moving on to what's
I guess the next one would be the March Against Monsanto.
Okay,
I'd like to cover that one a little bit.
Definitely,
I blew that one.
It's another one of the institutions that controls the government.
Yeah, it's a big institution.
Another one of getting the tax-free loans from the Federal Reserve Bank. Being tied into the IMF and
the IMF also being tied into chemtrails. All the other. It seems like anything that's bad, Monsanto has its hand in it.
Money originates from African slave trade.
Yeah, they were slave traders.
Italian Jews.
Well, they're just all around bad. I mean, if you don't know what Monsanto is, look it up.
Right.
Because they are practically the government. And then when we get people marching around here, march against Monsanto, which on the surface sounded great until I started looking into it, and found out that 90% of their sponsors are Monsanto, Altria, 4-H. That's a big one. 4-H, and you got John Lewis in the schools pushing, 4-H. We got to do against Monsanto. We're going to do all this non-GMO, but you're working for Monsanto saying this. So, and you support 4-H, and you're in the schools. 4-H is the propaganda arm of Monsanto. I went on Vinny Eastwood's show about this. I've gone and talked to people. And all I get is, so what? Well, when the march comes back up this coming year, I'm going to be there. Well, and I'm not going to be nice about it this year.
We can go through, and there's a lot to talk about here because it was also hands-on.
Yeah, hands-on points of light. I mean, you go through all these banks that are all Monsanto-owned. You look up Monsanto and you look up March Against Monsanto, and it's hand in hand.
Right.
I mean, it's the same people that will sponsor a march against that.
And so how does it exhibit itself? Like, what were we see? Like, some of the stuff we were seeing was, again, this was, it was the same folks involved that we'll cover, and we have covered before in the Ferguson rally, the Phil Wilato, John Lewis, and what was it? It was right at the state capitol, where it was very successful last year, being where all in
Carytown, where all the businesses
are, where all the rich people shop, where there's 5 grocery stores within like 1 square mile radius, where it's nothing but grocery stores.
And they had a big turnout.
There was a much bigger turnout.
People,
right.
And people were coming in off the street going, what's this about? And joining the march.
Much more accessible. So they had to go okay. Yeah, we controlled it in this certain way. We ran these kind of psyops this year. Enough's enough. And again, all they're asking for is for folks to join their political groups, to sign their names, and to donate money to their political groups in order for these folks to lobby the state government
for labeling GMOs.
And these are also the folks who are advocating this, who are working and getting paychecks directly from arms of Monsanto.
Yeah.
And so we see this, and then we go, well, you can't. It's hard to even find if you go to the state capitol, and it's like in the middle of and it's surrounded by the police.
Yeah, it's another one where you march. You're surrounded by police.
On their turf.
And then they led the march down these back roads, and wound up walking past the Altria building.
Right, walking past the Altria building. It didn't say anything about Altria and Monsanto.
Weird. Yeah. And then you start looking at it, and you start asking questions. Oh, well, don't worry about it. Oh, yeah, well, if nobody worried about it, it'd be great. But when somebody asks a question,
Yeah.
then what? Then it's all, don't worry about it. Don't worry. It doesn't happen. You're wrong. It doesn't exist. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm a smile-atician. I just smile and everybody listens to me because I smile.
So like everything else that we show, the freaking opposition is controlled by the party that is alleged to be protested against. So there it is. It is.
It's bizarre.
It is real bizarre, but again, it just only makes sense if you don't have any like, if you don't have any moral compass, if you don't have any like code of honor, then of course you're gonna like do everything deceitful. If like that's what you want is like political power and money and like getting your way, then like the truth, it doesn't matter.
No,
so you just, why wouldn't you just lie and just grab? I mean, if that's what one is motivated by. So again, that shows like what we're motivated by. Like, you know, I'm motivated by just letting folks know what the fuck is going on. That's number one motivation. And like, you know, so it's not my motivation. It's like, that's what it says, like, oh, to serve God. What does that mean? To like, you know, seek the truth, to, you know, just do what you think is right and just move forward from there. And so that's basically what we're doing. We have all these suspicious shit that's going on. Like, they make up shit about us, but they never got any backup for it.
Yeah.
I love it when they make shit up about me. It's just more, you know, publicity that's fucking fake and can't be substantiated. Like, that's great.
Yeah, free publicity.
I love it. Fucking make up more bullshit. And, like, usually when they make up bullshit, like, I can disprove it. Like, when one thing that I would like to cover from this year is when at City Hall, just quick, because, it's for maybe slightly selfish purposes, but it's just to show and to show that I have leverage on these fucking guys. That I can just, they're jokes. Like, if I look at them in the face, I could just, like, laugh at them. Every single one who holds any position of authority in the city of Richmond or in Hagerstown, Maryland, or in Washington, D.C., I can look at them and just go like, man, you're a fucking joke, and I can prove it on video. When John Belials this year, after what did he do? He raised the rates for handicapped individuals running the caravan, and when they kept like, bringing the folks down and telling them that they were, canceling the paper, and these folks who have to pay a shitload of money to even get the caravan, in many cases they're mobile through wheelchairs, and they have various other things that make it maybe more difficult than the average person to get to the meeting. They come, and every time that happens, they continue it and say, you can't come back. Well, one of the instances, there was a fire alarm that went off, and the city hall had to be evacuated. And these guys, it's not funny because, like, it's funny that it's funny because they're so sick and corrupt. The folks in the wheelchairs, they had to be, carried down the steps. And this was reported on the local news. And unfortunately, I was busy in another part of town, and I missed all of this. But a drunk as shit, which is not unusual for him. Hey, I spent a lot, my early 20s, and late teens, drunk as shit a lot of the time. But I wasn't just going around as a elected official making these crazy accusations, that can be disproven. I said, like, John, why are you bullshitting? Why are you raising the rates on these folks? I'm not raising the rates. The rates are the same. And then it comes to find out, like, by questioning him, they're not the same. They're actually going to go up. They're the same right now, but in a month and a half, they're going to go up triple or something like that. But anyways, he's bullshitting. He's lying and he's bullshitting. And then he accuses me of setting off the fire alarm. Then he, drunk as shit, gets in his car and he drives off. But what he didn't know is that night I videotaped officers when they were discussing how they were going to move forward as I'm walking in the door of City Hall, 20, 30 minutes after the event happened. And then I interviewed the fire chief who told me it was quote unquote a glitch that caused it. So he says it could happen. So again, like, sorry.
One hand doesn't know what the other hand's talking about.
Or they're all just lying and bullshitting and making false accusations and going around being drunk idiots and taking your money. Because it doesn't matter when they're drunk idiots. It doesn't matter when they're lying. It doesn't matter that they keep abusing these folks that are mobile through wheelchairs or old and, have nothing monetary to offer and that they can't rape from and, that we're just going to abuse these folks. So, anyway, yeah, sorry for that aside.
No,
I thought that was fairly pertinent.
It happened this year.
It was pertinent.
The next one up would be the Petersburg rallies for Devin Thomas.
We could go through that in all sorts of different angles. This is Devin Thomas was. I haven't seen proof to the contrary or proof.
We'll say allegedly assaulted.
Allegedly assaulted by a Petersburg cop. What was his name? Shane something. I
don't remember the name right now.
Yeah,
it's in the article I wrote. I wrote the articles.
Well, is there a way we can pull it up because I think that's important because I want to get his exact name because this same guy was involved in a civil rights lawsuit against the chief of the Petersburg police. So that was kind of a coincidental thing about Shane Richards. Was it Richards?
The name sounds familiar. I'd have to.
Okay. Okay. So what the folks know, what informed about this know, and that we knew through our contacts, through our inside contacts. With this, which was a manual artist, was our main inside contact with a lot of this stuff. There was some sort of event that was not really sussed out. Nobody knows why Prince George Police and Petersburg Police were operating and arresting individuals in Petersburg. However, it appears to be somewhat clear that, or is presumed by most, that Devin Thomas was filming this incident where Prince George Police and Petersburg Police were carrying out some sort of raid, arrest raid. And that it appears that Devin Thomas was approached initially by multiple cops, including.
I don't have the name of the officer in the article. And I don't feel like going back through all the history and try to find it. It's available. It's up. You can look it up.
So anyway, yeah, we've documented this. So there's an alleged assault between an officer who is suing the city of Petersburg and the Petersburg chief of police for a civil rights violation, and then the story gets interesting because Devin Thomas, the alleged assaulted individual, the alleged assault victim, is through a conversation between Nathan Cox of Cop Block and Emmanuel Artis and Thomas Roberts. Thomas Roberts states that he will be the representing Devin Thomas in the trial. However, the problem is that he's already representing the Petersburg police officer who is alleged to have assaulted Devin Thomas in the civil rights lawsuit against the city of Petersburg and the Petersburg chief of police. And interestingly enough, I knew this the year before because I was privy to a conversation at a place called Famous Browns at what used to be called Eastgate Mall. It's a restaurant run by Preston Brown, and I was privy to a conversation between Thomas Roberts and Emmanuel Artis, and Thomas Roberts was representing Emmanuel Artis against the Petersburg police, and Roberts wanted to drop Artis so he could represent the alleged assaulting officer in the Devin Thomas case, and he was so not with it, he didn't realize that the cop who hit the kid over the head that he represented is also, he's representing in a federal lawsuit. And this stuff is up on, LexisNexis, and we've shared it. It's actually, you can get it, just through a regular Google search. All this stuff, and that might not even be the strangest lawyer connection with Devin Thomas, because then we have Malik Shabazz, who is the principal of what they call the New Black Panther Party, and he was involved in this Ferguson psyop, backwards and forwards, and this also seems to tie in with this white cop, black teenage victim scenario where this happened in Richmond, and Malik Shabazz was, as we witnessed and documented through our videos on Negla and on Richmond Peace, these guys couldn't keep their story straight. Even the cop block folks.
The story changes, and then the last event that we went to, they basically left us, and we're basically like, oh, we only want certain people at these events, and we were kind of pushed out because you're not what we want, because you're pushing the truth, and we don't want the truth.
We want a different angle.
We want to be able to push this as a Black Lives Matter and only Black Lives Matter. Right. Don't worry that this happens to everybody. Right. Don't worry that the police are out of control. It's only black people that are getting the effects of this. I've had police in my house. I've been assaulted. I've had my First Amendment taken from me by the fucking police. And then I live in the same communities that these people do, and then they go down with white people, down with white people. Right. You know what? Down with idiots. I am tired of troglodytes that stand around and tell me that somehow you're better than me when you live right next door, and then tell me that I don't have the same problems that you do. I live in the same fucking community. I live in the same fucking street. I deal with the same fucking cops. They've come after me. You people go, oh my God. You run the fuck away, and then when they don't do shit to me. So who's doing this, though?
Who's doing this? Nathan Cox has been quoted in the news, pushing forward this black, black victim, white cop, and double standard, black versus white. And I think back to the Occupy movement, where when we would have these meetings, when we would have these meetings, there would be a queue to speak, and they would always put the white male at the back of the queue. So it's I see what's going on, and I know what their purpose is. It's to contain us. Mm-hmm. It's easy to manipulate Devin Thomas because he's 19 years old and he's getting bullshitted and he's getting hit by all these directions. He doesn't know what's going on. He's surrounded by fucking wolves in sheep's clothing. He's surrounded by fucking Nathan Cox, and he's surrounded by fucking Thomas Roberts, and he's surrounded by fucking Malik Shabazz and the fucking media. So of course they're gonna fucking take that story and run with it. And how many times have they continued that case? What the fuck is going on with it? It's still continued.
It went to January now.
Guess what? First he had Thomas Roberts, then he had Malik Shabazz. Now he's got another lawyer. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
What is going on? So okay, so how do we know? How do we know all this stuff? Nathan Cox called Emmanuel Artis and says, okay, yeah, Thomas Roberts is get the information, get them in touch. Then Nathan Cox calls back and says, yeah, can't do it. This is not kosher because he's already, a representative of the alleged, assaulter, perpetrator of the crime. Come on! How many coincidences have to take place till you start going oh, this is all bullshit? If
not many for me.
Okay, yeah. So,
not for me, but for most people, you could have a whole train of fucking them, and they still would do. You get run over by a train of coincidences, and they still go, well, it could
well, then that's an idiot who got run over by a train.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we
okay, then yeah, they're idiots. I'm not going to be punished by their idiocy. They're fucking stupid. I'm not that stupid, I should say, because I'm not going to, like, put myself up into anything. I know what I am. I'm a man and I'm a people. I know where I come from. I know what DNA and blood runs through my brains. I know my rights. I know where I stand. So we'll just go forward with that. We got them. It's all a fraud. They're perpetrators, and their days are really fucking numbered. So yeah,
and it's all documented.
It's all documented. Sue us, sue us. I mean, I'm so funny. It's so funny to hear my family members who have been defrauded, worried about those parties that defrauded them, suing them. Sue me, you fucking asshole, because you can't. You can't sue me. There's no court except my court in this land. That's the only court that has jurisdiction over me. My court. Suri juris. Suri juris. And if you don't get that, then eat shit. And I'll make you do it.
Well, the next one on the list would be the 9/11 event in Richmond.
9/11. Okay. So, we went downtown on the anniversary of 9/11, the false flag attacks, basically the attack on our state, on our home state, on the home state of my ancestors. And, we got the militia going, and we got the Virginia militia operating all these events that we're talking about. They're events where we're going representing the Virginia militia. We are the top law enforcement arm, and just watch the police run away from us.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and then watch all these other institutions like combining with the police sometimes to like violate our rights. But they can't stand on their own because we're above them, So we went down there and basically we held some signs, and we went out and bullhorn demonstrated, passed out flyers, and basically we were stating the obvious on the street corner. We were commemorating the day.
That's pretty much what we do with all of them. We state the obvious. Right. We come out and we say, hey, this is what happened. This is what's going on.
Right.
That leads us into the Pastor Rob Scarborough show that we were on.
Yeah, where we just basically go on these shows, and on live radio, we document all of the crimes that we've discovered. Oh, I guess next let's do the when you caught the election fraud, because I think that'll be important, and that kind of ties in with what we were doing, because they like to get us in there around election time every year. Or at least the past couple of years they have, I should say. And what we were basically saying is like the election it's all fraud. It's fake. Your vote doesn't count. We have proof.
0% of the votes came in, and they were already announcing winners and how many write-in ballots were in there. And it's like, how can you know if 0% of the votes have come in? Zero.
Right.
Zero. They hadn't counted anything yet, but they already knew the winners. They knew how many write-in ballots. They knew how all this stuff that's like, but none of the machines were counted yet. And then when they started,
and the polls hadn't even actually closed at that point.
And the polls weren't even closed at that point.
Okay.
And and they're already announcing these winners, and it's like
with 0%
with 0% of the precincts reporting in.
And who's doing this? Both the state of Virginia, elections, Board of Elections. And at least Channel 6.
At least Channel 6. I didn't check all the rest of them.
Right.
But, you don't need to have 10 different ones showing the same thing. If you got one that shows it, one's enough. You can go, 10 would be great, but then it'd be overkill, and it's like in people.
And this isn't the first time that we've.
This isn't the first time. This has happened. This happens every election.
Every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching it.
2014.
2012. 35% had reported in, and they were already closing the polls and declaring winners. Right. And it's like, wait a minute, how only 35%, but you're already closing down the poll and know who won? And then later it was like, oh, well, wait a minute, this other guy actually won. And then you get into
that was
crazy
2013.
shit.
That was Obenshane versus Herring.
Yeah, they had already announced the winner.
They announced the winner.
And then, well, wait a minute. We found a voting machine.
Oh, where does this happen? Because this is always key, because it always happens in the city of Richmond. Because that's where all this fraud takes place. Because it's like a real corrupt city. So they found it in Precinct 5. And what did they say? Oh, we lost it because it was fucking dark. It's dark every year at the same time of year.
And ballots that were locked in a drawer that couldn't be opened.
Right. Whose fault was that?
Absentee ballots that were locked in a drawer, and then we didn't have a key, and attempt did that, and it doesn't matter because we're not going to count them. So if your vote counts and you're an absentee ballot writer,
Kirk Showalter,
your vote didn't count.
You know, Kirk Showalter, Bill Thomas, freaking Cecilia Dabney.
Yeah, it's the same people.
It's the same. I mean, you know,
year after year.
Chris Piper. Oh God, what's some of the other guys from the state? But anyway, and okay, so also 2012, there were 5 entire precincts recording counted. 0 votes. That's like 12,000 votes. Just like, where did they go? Like 8 days after the election, and what also we have on top of everything else, and we gathered this over the years. Some of it we had immediately, and some of it we've had to wait for a couple years to get. We have emails back and forth between Chris Piper, who's the manager of Virginia elections, and Kirk Showalter, where after the 7 days, which is a violation of the law, like there has to be an investigation, there has to be protocol that
they don't follow the protocol.
Right. Where the votes are missing, and they're like I can't hold them off any longer. Like, they're starting to like ask questions. Like I told him this. I think that'll be all right for a couple days, but there's nothing I can do. And then Showalter responds by, there are no missing votes. They're talking about the 2A envelope. And that's the only one. What's the 2A? That's the only one that's available for public scrutiny. That's the one that's missing. So, and that's the only one that's due in the clerk of the court's office. So it's like these guys don't even know their own fucking rules, and if they fuck up, they know the initial thing is to cover up and say nothing, just to clam up, clam up.
Well, then you also had some of the precincts that were reporting over 200%. You can only have 100% of the people voting the thing, and they're 200-300%. It's like,
in this year with the vote flipping all over the state.
Yeah, and then the vote flipping where you hit the bing. Oh, it's the other one.
Wait a second.
Bing.
So what do they call these things? Computer glitches. And look up what glitch means in Yiddish. It basically means it's like a fuck up. It's so that could be anything. It could be somebody hacked in and it's fucked up. It could mean that that they just made the whole shit up and the glitch was that somebody ripped something out of a computer and threw it in a fucking drawer and locked it and threw away the key.
Yeah.
It could mean anything. But basically, if you think that your vote counts, and that even if your vote did count, if you think that either one of any of these folks that are running for public office, for any office, is gonna fucking open their mouth up and freaking get off the gravy train to do what's right, you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is what's called, we could also call this fucking tough love TV. You're a fucking idiot, America. Quit being so fucking goddamn stupid. I mean, it's all there for you to see. None of it makes sense? All of it seems unfair? Guess what? It's because it's all nonsense and it's all fraud carried out against you.
And it doesn't make sense because it's carried out against you.
Right. It's this doesn't make sense. Why would I want to vote and not, why would I want to go out and vote for this guy? Oh, he betrayed us. He betrayed. Who would have ever heard a politician going off on campaign promises, and we just need to get a few more guys in, and it doesn't matter that precinct 910 recorded 0 votes. Again, with these recording 0 votes, it's not just a limitation to those 15,000 votes that, of those individuals that's just like, here's, and this happens all over the country. Here's just 15,000 people out of the city of Richmond. We're just going to flush their votes down the toilet. It's not just that. That's how they backdoor into these mainframes to do all sorts of other manipulations. They do it by precinct dropping. That's a strategy they use to back into these things, and then at that point they can change all the other votes that were cast. So all the votes are fraudulent.
Pretty much. I mean, that's what it comes down to, is your vote does not count. Your voice is not heard in government.
Your voice is not heard in government, and your vote not counting, that's one of the ways. And again, we don't have a democracy. Our government was not set up as a democracy. Our government was a tool set up to be of use as a republic. Well, it was set up to be as use to the people, as a republic. And what does a republic mean? According to a volume of Black's Law, that means it's a government set up of, by, and for sovereigns.
To represent them.
Yes. The republic is the government to represent the sovereigns. And who are the sovereigns? In our case, in our government, in our form of government, it is the people. It is man who creates the government as a tool to be used. So, that's what we're saying. We cannot be misconstrued. We cannot be misrepresented. All we need is a few more conservatives. No, we need some union representation. We need some socialists. No, we need, oligarchy. No, we need Marxist communism. Man, that shit doesn't make any sense. That's just a scam carried out against the rightful owners and the body of the people by usurpers in every event. They come and they infiltrate every government, and they take away your shit, and they destroy you and your family and everything you hold dear, and they degrade you. So, what do we got next?
The next one would be the one that's closest up, would be the Tea Party. Our Tea Party fiasco that we attended.
Okay,
which was... I still can't figure out a word for what that was. Other than fiasco.
Wes and I have had a very similar experience with the Tea Partiers caught on camera. So, that was the Mechanicsville Tea Party. This is the Richmond Tea Party, and I guess that's representing, like, Chesterfield folks and Henrico folks mostly, because we've also been to Henrico Tea Party, and that was just a bunch of bullshit too.
Well, I think any of these things are just a bunch of bullshit. It's just a way for people to get together and go, I feel good about it because I'm part of this team, and I'm proud to be a part of a team, and I'm a team member, and my team wins, and
that is a good point, Glenn. That is because it's like, they make everything is a gambit. Everything is a gambit in our society. The way our society functions, it's nothing but a gambit. And they divide the red versus blue, and then they'll subdivide the Tea Party, and but a lot of these narratives. This is the thing with the media. The narratives that the media creates, they just create them out of nothing. And it's just, it doesn't have to be true. It just has to fit in with
no substance with their rhetoric.
With where their rhetoric wants to lead the sheep, where it wants to lead the flock, where it wants to lead those who believe what they believe, the lies that they see on the television. So they'll say, like, okay, it's the Democrats. It's the corporate Democrats that they're a problem. All we need to do is take over the kick the corporate Democrats out and replace them with the progressive Democrats. And so then the gambit becomes when the focus is on, that's when the focus is on a Republican president. When the focus, and that's just a fake, professional wrestling tactic too. He's a puppet no matter what. And I'm talking about the president's a puppet no matter what. So then the Democrats, I should say, come in Obama. So they go, so it's not so then it's the Republican is the opposition, and then they go oh, it's the Republican in name only that's the problem, and we need the real Tea Party Republicans. And then it's oh, well, it's not the Tea Party that's the problem, it's the Tea Party broke off from Ron Paul, and then they formed the Tea Party Express, and then it's like a subdivide, a bunch of subdivide. But what we're saying is you can subdivide all you want. These folks don't have any power. The people have the power. And I'll prove it. I'll go right into your fucking stupid meeting, and whatever fucking public official I come across, I'm going to say, you're guilty of treason. Quit being a servant of the Federal Reserve Bank. And I'm talking about Lee Ware, member of the House of Delegates, Republican, but it doesn't matter. Chesterfield guy. So he's got to be a Republican. So then we just say, we're calling the militia to muster. This is it. You guys have fucked us over too much. You guys have violated the law too much, and you've stepped on the people's rights too much, and you're just a scam artist, and you're a degenerate, and fuck you, and eat shit. I mean, I didn't say that. It's pretty clear.
Yeah, we were.
But you know what? That's the fucking real intent when I'm saying it. It's basically they
got the message.
They got the fuck. You get the fucking message, asshole. Get the fucking clue, dickhead. I'm talking to you, you fucking sack of shit. It means, and then what this guy says, oh, I'm at the state level. Man, you think you're talking to a fucking idiot? Are you a fucking idiot? Are you insulting me? Man, you got a lot of fucking nerve, you asshole. And these other guys that fucking stepped up, I'm like, God damn, you fucking pieces of shit. We'll see you again, asshole. We will, and we'll stick the camera in your face again. Yep. You fucking piece of shit. And you're gonna fucking back off next time. Or
you're going to start more shit.
Or you're gonna start more fucking shit. And it's gonna start more shit. And you're gonna get yourselves in fucking deeper. God bless America. But I will say one thing. You traitors, enemy. I mean, it is so vast. This fucking shit is so fucking vast. And you know what? It takes a very small percentage of the population to carry it out, but they're all full of shit. Republican, Democrat, every fucking
Rhinos,
group.
dinos,
Tri-Cities Liberty Alliance.
Yes.
We just got done talking about how fucking elections are fraudulent. So what is Josh Miller, who's removing my shit from the fucking Chesterfield Libertarian Facebook page, and tied in with all these other folks who just sit back and go what are we gonna do about Chris Dorsey and Glenn? What are we gonna do about what do we do when they come say that?
We can't let them say anything.
What are we gonna do? How are we gonna respond? Man, the Tri-Cities Liberty Alliance, that's another thing that happened in 2014. It was infiltrated by the FBI before 2014, but it became general knowledge for many folks and some people in the know that there were FBI agents who had infiltrated that group coming from North Carolina and Texas, and that it was not something that was under dispute, and that John Rooney, who runs the place, hey, what did he do? Clam the fuck up. Clam up. Why you fucking cover everything up that's of any importance, you piece of shit? Come on. And then they'll go forward and say well, all these guys are pieces of shit. Well, not me. Not all of them. Some are, some aren't. Really? They all are, John. They all are. And you protest too much whenever anybody brings pieces of shit up. So, you know what they say about thou who doth protest too much.
Yeah.
So, then we got Tom Redfern, former federal government, conservative, who runs these, paid things where he allegedly tells people about the Constitution. So we start talking about the Constitution and say, hey, what do you think, Josh Miller and Tom Redfern of the Tri-Cities Liberty Alliance? What the fuck do you think about the Constitution, you assholes? I don't know anything. Well, your heart's in the right place. I'm not talking about my fucking heart. My heart is beating inside my body. I'm talking about the law, dickhead. Don't try your word games on me, you fucking asshole. Well, all we need is a few good election cycles. Get the
right people in to do the right things.
Man, we have you assholes on camera saying this. Fuck you. Fuck you. I'll say it right to your face, but I like to get it more like, you know, I'll get that like on camera, and then I'll like, before I do that, I'll get all the pleasantries and the way to get it done properly first. Because, like, what do you want me to do? You want me to, have you spew diarrhea in my fucking face and then say, okay, thanks for the fucking diarrhea in my face? That's why I say fuck you and eat shit. That's why I say it. Because I'm not going to smile at somebody who's fucking pissing on my head and telling me it's fucking raining.
Yeah.
Because I see it. So, yeah, I mean, these folks, I
guess it all comes down to just being aware. You got to be aware, you got to be awake, you got to watch what's going on, watch what's happening. Question shit. You see something that doesn't fit, question it.
Right.
And people are afraid because you're standing up. Oh well, the one that stands up is the one that's going to get hit the most. Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, we get hit. Some of us stand back up. We don't fold, and that's where it comes down to. You can't fold. They hit you. They're going to 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 hit you.
They're going to kill you.
All it takes is getting back up one more time, and they hit you, and you won.
And they're going to reinsure your body fucking 5 times worth more than you made in your fucking lifetime on your fucking way out. So, and it's not really a matter. It's like, you get hit. It's like, we're not getting hit much. They're ignoring us at this point.
Yeah,
you get hit until you pop through a certain level, and then you go like, well, shit, I've already made my fucking list. Anything weird happens to me, there's going to be a lot of fucking dead bodies around. And, like, I already fucking, like, I'm a pretty fucking quick draw. I got a fucking bullet in the chamber. So, like, anybody who comes too fucking close and you really fucking cross the line, that's going to be your last move. So, that's just the way it fucking goes. That's the law of nature. And it's been enumerated in our Constitution, which our forefathers founded. Not yours, our forefathers. Our ancestors. We are the posterity. Not you. Not you. Unless you are.
Yeah.
Unless you are. And if you are, you're pathetic. You've allowed your country to be raped. You have pissed on the grave of your ancestors. You have brought shame upon the American body of people. You've brought shame on the great Commonwealth of Virginia. You brought shame on the great state of Maryland. You brought shame. I mean, that's really the only places in America that really matter at the end of the day. And other places, they're nice and fine. It's okay. But that's really the only thing that matters. And that's what we plan on, gaining more leverage over. Gaining our power back over this region. This is our region. We belong here. We own this. We have right of use. This property has been conveyed to us through a greater covenant than any of the rules that this so-called priests of the temple are executing now.
Yeah.
So, maybe we can close up saying like, hey, the General Assembly session's coming up.
Yeah.
You wanna?
Yeah. Well, go ahead and let's go on with the General Assembly. We've pretty much finished the list. I mean, other than the show, and our show's doing pretty good. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep getting out there. Keep bringing you the news. Keep bringing you all that's going on. Showing everybody all the crap in the world that people, it doesn't happen. Here it is. It's all documented, all videoed, all, I'm doing the best I can. Verified.
Verified is the lawful, and legal term. Verified. Everything that we say is verified.
Or verifiable. Either way. It's either verified or verifiable.
There you go. Okay.
My opinion and his opinion, yes, we disagree on a lot of things. That's what makes us. That's why I like it. I can't. There's no way that I can stand anybody that's 100% with me.
Right.
I fuck that. Because then it's just you just get a yes.
But here's what I think is important about that. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
but like, we do disagree, but like, what we disagree on is not going to hamstring the other with unnecessary shackles. We're not going to be like crabs in a barrel, grabbing each other down and saying like, I'm going to attempt to take away your political and God-given rights because I don't agree with what you're saying, because we agree that the only thing that really matters at the end of the day is that we can do as we wish because we are men. We are above the government. We create the government, and that we have documented beyond a shadow of a doubt. In a lot of cases, like, I'm filming and you can see in my camera Glenn filming, and vice versa. So we're seeing the same things. We're not disagreeing on what we're seeing right in front of our own faces.
The facts are facts.
Facts are facts.
We agree on the facts. We may disagree on our opinion.
Right. So we're stating mostly facts, and sometimes we're stating opinions. But when we say this government must be abolished, the people must get in control of their currency, and that this is not a bargain that is good for the vast majority of the public, it's a verifiable fact. And when we say that it's not going to work and you can't reform it through the
process
elections,
that they want
the
you
process,
to follow.
Don't go down, don't follow the path where the lemmings are being let off the cliff, and don't follow the Pied Piper leaving you down the wrong path. If like we demonstrated, if it's not to ban Monsanto poison, and it's to label it, at some point, years down the road, to say, yeah, this is poison, like, then they're just going to have that many years to make people dumb enough to want to, knowingly eat poison. So we're saying ban it. We're saying, like, well, you know what? We replaced Eric Cantor, and we did it through this, and Joe Morrissey, like, he's the bad guy, and, like, this, that, and the other thing. Like, their replacements, worse. They're going to be worse. I'm not even talking about those particular, but I'm saying when somebody is replaced, the new Congress is worse. And it's only because the plan that they're following and the orders that they're following are getting worse. That's why, because it's not them, it's the orders that they're following. So that the government can't be reformed. And we have instructions, not from Glenn Sutphin and Chris Dorsey, but from the law, from our ancestors. And that law has been scrutinized and parsed. And it's unarguable what it is, what it states. And it's unarguable that the institutions that control the government now violate the law of the land in every way. And we've been through that from the Federal Reserve Bank to the, Monsanto, to the destroying of the planet, all that shit. So, we're going to be meeting at the General Assembly at high noon, January 14th. We're going to be down there. We're going to attempt to be down there like every day. We want to have different things. We're going to have a meeting next week, and stay tuned for the announcement of the meeting, because, again, like, there's a lot of groups that are meeting down at the General Assembly, and those are left-wing and right-wing paid lobbyist groups. That's who that is, arms of the Democrat and Republican Party. So the people are going to be down there, and, bring your pitchforks, bring your torches.
Bring your cameras.
Bring your cameras. That's the best thing. Bring your cameras more than anything. Bring a fucking guitar. Bring your skateboard. Bring your dog. We're going to stand out there with a podium. And we're going to stand there with guns. And we're going to say, look, this is what we're here to do. This is how these folks are violating the law. Again, we've been doing this for years now, where we've been handing members of the House of Delegates, numbering in the dozens, and confronting governors, and members of the Senate, saying
politicians,
that everyone,
lawmakers, whoever we see.
Yeah, that
anybody
you're violating the law.
In power.
You're violating the law. We have your proof. We're armed. You need to go to jail. You need to, stop covering up this crime. You need to stop covering up the 9/11 fraud during, through the attack on the state of Virginia. You need to stop being a servant of Northrop Grumman, who is, fraudulently running the entire IT infrastructure for every state agency in the Commonwealth of Virginia. You need to stop polluting the earth, through all your different schemes with Dominion Virginia Power, the coal-burning power plant, the fly ash,
the GMOs, the
chemtrails,
the fucking...
They're all profiting from this. Not one of the members of the House of Delegates, not one of the members of the City Council, not one member of the Chesterfield Board of Supervisors, not one fucking lawyer, not one protest group is standing up to these criminals. Not one! So, we have to be the ones to do it. And stop being cowards. Just come out and listen to what we have to say. If you want to be free, be free. If you want to be a slave, be a slave. We're going to free you from your slavery whether you like it or not. Because, we don't want a bunch of stupid slaves. I'm not in with that devil system. Yeah, we got past that.
Slaves I got to take care of. Fuck that.
Yeah, I don't want to have to take care of you. Fucking take care of yourself, assholes. But the thing is, you're not going to act like we're one of you. We're not one of you. We are not going along with this. We're not complicit. I'm not a subset in my, maybe real quick. Just, if you get a chance, all my banking documents that I've, signed during this year, I am nothing but non-assumption, including the original contract that I have with the bank that I use called Union First Market. I am not a subset. I have multiple videos with individuals calling me up and telling me that I cannot sign my name non-assumption. So this goes along with it, and this is what I advise others to do. Don't agree to a contract that's detrimental to you. Don't agree to something that takes stuff away from you and gives you nothing. Don't agree to a contract that can be changed at any time. Don't agree to signing away all of your rights and privileges. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So that's it. We're not abdicating our God-given rights. We have it. We not only have the God-given rights, but we have the authority vested to us, because we are the posterity of the founders of this country. Which is the people, the American people. So we are their posterity. We're the posterity of the American people. We are the people. And we don't want to agree to these things that are detrimental to us.
If I would be out marching against it, trust me.
Right.
I'm lazy.
So why would we? Don't go along with any of this. Join us. Join us. Become one of the people. You're a part of the... If you have a gun and you think that you're free, you're part of the militia whether you like it or not. So join us officially. Stop, do something good. We started naming all these folks that are around that we're talking about that are doing this. They're not great. They're fucking losers. They're a dime a dozen phonies. Phil Lato, Nathan Cox, fucking Josh Miller. Don't you want to fucking break free from that fucking garbage? Fucking Nate Stickle, the Occupy crew, Pat McNeil. Don't you want to fucking break free? There's nothing special about those individuals. Those guys are just degenerates. They are the crabs in the barrel.
They have a lot of lemmings following.
Yeah, that want to pull everybody back down with them and go like, well, sure I'm white, but fuck white people. Well, sure I'm white. Black Lives Matter, and this is about I hate white supremacists. Okay, well, so you want to enslave everybody instead of letting everybody free? That doesn't make sense. I want everybody to be free. You know what? If we went out there today and tomorrow, and Glenn and I were the only white people around, I guess I would say, well, this is the people, and
so much for white privilege.
This is our crew.
Yeah.
Like, whoever goes along with us, that's our crew. Like, and whoever opposes us, what does that make them? I don't know. It makes them violators of our rights, because that's all we're putting forward. That's the only thing that we're putting forward is our God-given rights. We're not advocating for anything else other than our God-given rights. We're not advocating anything else except for our birthrights.
Yeah, not advocating for any special privilege.
No special privilege.
Not advocating for treatment different than anything else.
No special treatment. Our rights, according to the law.
Our rights are.
The common law. The natural law. Common law is the law of the land. This is a common law land. Our rights under our law, under our God, and over everything else that's under God. So, I think that's the way I'd like to, close it out. Because I'd like, that's all I'd like to say to the people, except for God bless and Auf Wiedersehen.
And show up for the General Assembly. Show up for some of these rallies and stuff. Even if you don't agree, just show up.
Show up.
State your opinion. That's what was
open mic. Everything's
this country was
mic.
based on, was stating your opinion freely. Not, I don't like what you said, so shut up. It doesn't work that way. Sorry. And no, I will not shut up. I will not sit down. I will not go quietly away. I won't conform to your idiocracy or whatever you want to call it. Idiocracy, whatever, because it doesn't make any damn sense.
Right.
A lot of you people don't make any damn sense, and you tell, we got to follow you. If you don't make any sense, why should I follow you? And if I make more sense than you and then I follow you, that makes me a dumbass anyway. So, And no, I don't follow the group. I will stand and watch the group go the wrong way. Because that's what the group does. It always gets led the wrong way. If everybody's going in this direction, I go in the opposite direction because I know I'll be right.
Okay. That is a claim that we make because we're always, all this information that we say, it can be scrutinized. So scrutinize it. And this is the only resistance. Don't ever convince yourself that anything else is going on or that the cutting edge is elsewhere, because it's not. Nobody's standing out on the street. No one's confronting these folks like we are. The We Are Change folks, that's a fucking joke. We'll start confronting them pretty soon on camera, except for they won't show their faces around. Even our local We Are Change, lackeys like Nathan Cox, he's afraid to show his face at a lot of different things. But anyways, check us out. Scrutinize it. This is it. This is it. We're gonna also we're gonna have correspondence directly to even more government officials over the next week or so. So tune in for that. And
yeah, I'm still going to be doing everything I'm doing. So
yeah,
I'll be here next week, Lord willing.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
just catch us next week. It'll be the first show of the new year. Like I said, the direction that I have planned for this is I'm just going to keep going, going to keep getting bigger, going to add more to the show, hopefully get some other guests on, people that agree with us, people that don't agree with us.
I'd love to have everybody. Yeah, So anyway, yeah.
And I think on that note, we will end this tonight.
Yep.
Sorry for all the technical difficulties. It is recorded. It will be up. I've been reading that it didn't go through on the live feed, which is okay because it is taped. I always tape everything as a backup. So On that note, this has been Get the News Straight. I'm Glenn Sutphin, your host.
Chris Dorsey.
Chris Dorsey, the co-host, and we'll see you later.
God bless.